The coronavirus vaccine, the savior of lives as well as the worst enemy to anyone with his haircut. There's a whole heap of vaccines that are owned by many rich Caucasian men, and frankly, it would take too long to cover all of them. So today we are only focusing on the one owned by the dirty Russians who always seem to be scheming. Unfortunately, their vaccine surprisingly isn't actually a weapon capable of mass destruction, and it is unexpectedly quite effective. And today we will explain to you, the wonderful people, how it works. The name of the vaccine is Sputnik 5, and essentially how it works is since the coronavirus itself is loaded with spike proteins around them, which they use to enter the human cells, Sputnik 5 is based on the virus's genetic instructions for building the spike protein. But unlike the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, which stores the instructions in single-stranded RNA, Sputnik 5 uses double-stranded DNA. The vaccine was created from adenoviruses, which cause the common cold. They added the genes for the coronavirus spike protein gene to two types of adenoviruses, one called AD26 and the other one called AD5, and engineered them so they could invade the cells but not replicate.
When Sputnik V is injected into a person's arm, the adenoviruses bump into cells and latch onto proteins on their surface. The cell engulfs the virus in a bubble and puts it inside. Once inside, the adenovirus escapes from the bubble and travels to the nucleus, the chamber where the cell's DNA is stored. The adenovirus pushes its DNA into the nucleus. The gene for the coronavirus spike protein can be read by the cell and copied into a molecule called the messenger RNA, or mRNA. The mRNA leaves the nucleus, and the cell's molecules read its sequence and begin assembling spike proteins that migrate to the cell's surface and stick out their tips. The vaccinated cells also break up some of the proteins into fragments, which they present on their surface. These protruding spikes and spike protein fragments can then be recognized by the immune system. The adenovirus also provokes the immune system by switching on the cell's alarm systems. The cell sends out warning signals to activate immune cells nearby. By raising this alarm, Sputnik V causes this immune system to react more strongly to the spike proteins. When the vaccinated cell is killed, it leaves behind spike proteins, which are broken down by an antigen-presenting cell, and show the fragments on its surface. Helper T cells can detect these and can activate another type of cell called B cells to make antibodies which it produces and spreads to the whole body. The antibodies then stick to the virus, and if you get it, prevent it from attaching the coronavirus to other cells.
Now, you may ask, why do we need a second dose of this vaccine? Well, the reason for that is that our immune system could respond to an adenovirus vaccine by making antibodies against it, which would render a second dose of that same vaccine ineffective. To avoid this, the Russian researchers used one type of the adenovirus, AD26, for the first dose, and for the second dose, AD5. And a second jab will protect you more than one, so clear any misconceptions you have about this vaccine, as it is entirely safe and effective, with, as mentioned before, a 91.6% effectiveness. So go and get your second jab and keep everyone safe.